Right. So once again, I welcome you all to this very special 115th session of Leadership Talks by India International Education Council and School Lalaji Solutions. India International Education Council is a not-for-profit organization which is working in the field of education. It has collaborators from 12 countries. It aims to create a better world through education. It's, it also aims to build quality centers for elementary education, which are approachable for all kids, finding best educational practices across the globe, and find ways to implement those in Indian institutions. It is also creating more awareness on hygiene and learning disabilities. It publishes a magazine called World Education Review and many other educational reports. It aims to build 100 chapters in different cities by 2022. It will soon open its membership for institutions and individuals. It also impart training for leaders, teachers, students, and parents. So as you know that we have already conducted 114 sessions successfully. We have received 12,172 registrations for those sessions, 11,071 questions on national education policy. We have seen participation from 5 countries: India, USA, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Nepal. From India, we have seen participation from 21 states and 86 cities. We aim to organize 200 sessions. With this, we would be reaching out to 100,000 educators, 20,000 institutions, and 1,000 plus eminent speakers like today's speakers would be joining us to share their perspective on national education policy. So with this, I would request you all, please join me in welcoming our key speakers for this very special session. Our first key speaker, a very senior education leader, Nirmal Mahana ma'am. Nirmal ma'am is principal with the Delhi Public School, Kathua, Jammu and Kashmir. As an NCC cadet with C certificate, she gave a guard of honor to then Prime Minister Mrs. Indira Gandhi and played Congo at Rashtrapati Bhavan in 1984 during Republic Day parade. She has also been a national player, in hockey, cricket, baseball, and table tennis. She is the national president with North Global Edu Leaders Forum. She is also the president with Jammu Sahodhya and city coordinator CBSE. She's having 36 years of experience in the field of education. She has won many national and international awards for the outstanding contribution to the field of education. She has been conferred with the Best Citizens of India Award in 2015, another Rashtriya Gaurav Award in 2014 by Dr. Bhishma Narayan Singh, a former governor of Tamil Nadu and Assam. She has also been conferred with the International School Award for leading the integration of international learning in the school by British Council, the United Kingdom. We welcome you, Nirmal ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you, dear. It's an honor and privilege for me to be part of this elite organization and elite set of key speakers today. Definitely
Welcome,
will
ma'am.
be. Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am. Thank you for joining. Our next key speaker, another very senior education leader, Manjulika Mathur ma'am. Manjulika ma'am is principal with SN Memorial Public School, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. She is a seasoned educator with over 35 years of experience. She's an alumni of MGD Maharani Gayatri Devi School, Jaipur, and has a strong desire to spread quality education in rural areas. She is also the founder president with Inner Wheel Club of Dehradun West. She regularly writes articles on education for various magazines and newspapers. Her conviction and passion are to promote the social, emotional, and academic well-being of people under her care. She strongly believes in working in synergy and with parents. She is also the proud recipient of Uttarakhand Ratan Award 2017, among many other such prestigious awards. We welcome you, Manjulika ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Good morning.
Good
Thank you
morning, ma'am,
for
and welcome.
thanks for the welcome, Radhu sir. And I really feel proud to be a part of today's panel discussion.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. We are honored with your presence, ma'am. I'll come back to you. Our next key speaker, Dr. Rupali Dhamdhere. Rupali ji is principal with Trinity International School, Pune, Maharashtra. She is a dedicated educational professional with 7 years of banking and more than 15 years of teaching experience. She has been recognized as one of the most 50 influential. She has been recognized as one of the most 50 influential principals of India 2019 by World Education Congress. She is also the receiver of a Best Principal Award 2019, national level for contribution to Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. She headed the WebGeo team for British Council ISA Award for the year 2013-14 and won the same. He was also recognized as a top 25 women leader in Indian education sector. She has worked with many prestigious schools like CM International School, the Lexicon International School, and WebGeo High School, Pune. We welcome you, Rupali ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome. Our next key speaker, Neelam Sharma ji. Neelam ji is principal with the Indian Academy, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. She's a passionate educator with decades of experience. She received the Dietrich Brandeis Germany Scholarship. She has received many prestigious awards like Uttarakhand Award 2017, Achievers Award 2019, the Principal of the Year Award 2020. We welcome you, Neelam ji. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank
Welcome,
you.
ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. Our next key speaker, Dr. R.P. Pandey. Dr. Pandey is assistant professor with SRM University. He was a FAPESP postdoctoral fellow, which is a very prestigious fellowship of Latin America. He was a research associate at the Transnational Health Science and Technology Institute. He did his doctorate degree in 2014 from the University of Delhi and Tuberculosis Aerosol Challenge Facility, Delhi. He's on the editorial board of more than 10 journals and editor-in-chief of Indian Journal of Infection. He has been awarded the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India Young Scientist Award, Senior Research Fellowship from Indian Council of Medical Research, Indian Immunology. He has also received the Society Young Scientist Award from European Federation of Immunological Societies, Travel Award, British Society of Immunology Travel Award. We welcome you, Dr. Pandey. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's an honor for me to have you here.
Welcome, sir. Our next speaker is Sunil Dangi. Sunil is a co-founder and CEO of eMango Education. He's an IIT graduate from IIT Kanpur. He's having a master's degree in mathematics and scientific computing. He's an actuary and a member with Institute of Actuary, United Kingdom. He has worked with ICICI Prudential, HSBC, a financial risk advisor at Ernst & Young. He's an entrepreneur for the last 6 years in telecom, food and education sector. He has been doing research on career counseling for the last 2 years. Based on that research, he along with his team have come up with a wonderful product called eMango, which is a digital career counseling platform. We welcome you, Sunilji. Thank you for joining. Our next key speaker, Mr. Pranshu Barwankar. Pranshu is manager with Fatado School of Music. Fatado School of Music is India's largest music educator. It is a brand which is synonym to music in our country. It has a 150-year-old rich legacy. It has been working with the 200 plus leading schools of India. It has been trained over 1 lakh students. It owns many renowned titles like Bandit, which is India's largest school-level music competition to promote music talents across all schools. Other titles are like Piano Concert, Cadence, Workshop, High Jump Training, FSM Exams, Recital, FSM Recital. It enjoys partnerships with the renowned institutions like Berklee College of Music and NMIMS School of Performing Arts. Welcome you, Pranshu. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Rajulji, for having me here. It's an honor.
Welcome, sir. Now, with this, we come to the next part of the session, which is the opening remarks. I would request all our key speakers if we can have your quick 1 minute opening remark before for your main talk. So I'll begin with Nirmal ma'am. Nirmal ma'am, if I may request you for your quick 1 minute opening remark.
Good morning to one and all. It's an honor to address this elite gathering. And as far as we are going to talk about the Education National Policy 2020, I think everybody is aware that many changes are going to come, and some of the changes are very good for the children. Some of the changes are very good for the society. Some of the changes very good for the schools and the management. But yes, there are certain hitches also that how we are going to implement. But nonetheless, we all have to work together to make it possible to implement this thing. So in coming time, we will be discussing how we are going to implement and how we should implement it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nirmal ma'am. I'll come back to you. Now, I would request Manjulika Mathur ma'am. Manjulika ma'am, if we can have your quick 1 minute opening remark.
Well, good morning to all the panel that is on the board today. And it's been a wonderful day to speak on the NEP. The NEP has come in the most eventful year that is going to be remained in our minds for generations to come, that is 2020, which will be remembered as the pandemic year. And coming of the NEP in this year has brought about with it many positive sides also. I would like to mention the digitalization of education at all levels. We have seen small children to higher class students using the digital platform to study, and this has opened various avenues for future of the country. And as we all are seeing from various walks of life, many webinars were conducted, and the whole dimension, the whole world has come to a new platform. That I would like to say. And we all are waiting for the implementation of the NEP at all grassroots level.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monica ma'am. We all are very excited to hear your ideas on that. I'll come back to you. Thank you. Now, I would request Rupali ma'am, if we can have your quick 1 minute opening remark.
So thank you so much. Honored to be a part of this August gathering, and I agree with Manjulika ma'am. What a year for the new education policy in the year 2020. A very eventful year, I would say, and a year full of opportunities. Education being the prime factor in the development of any nation or a country, and we looking at education from a different angle and looking at involving it, whether it be socio-economic groups or genders or everything. So looking at a wholesome growth, which is, I think, taking India to a better and a new future, I would say. So yes, an eventful year, and implementation slowly and gradually, like Nirmal ma'am said, yes, things will be clear and we all are in it together. So definitely there will be a better implementation, and the policy really talks highly about taking education at a different level, and we being at a global platform at par with the others as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Rupali ma'am. I'll come back to you for your detailed interpretation. Thank you for joining. Now, I would request Neelam Sharma ji. Neelam ma'am, if we can have your 1 minute opening remark.
Yes, good morning, one and all present here. I will start with Rig Veda, what Rig Veda says about education, that it defines as something which makes the student self-reliant and selfless. So NEP 2020 says the same things. Of course, problems are there, but solutions are also still there. So we can work together, school management, government, teachers, principals, and of course, we will move ahead. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Neelam ma'am. We all agree with you that we all need to work in collaboration. Thank you. I'll come back to you. Now, I would request Dr. R.P. Pandey ji. Dr. Pandey, if we can have your quick opening remark.
Yes, so thank you very much. And good morning to all of you here, all the panelists, all the audience. It's really my privilege to have here and speak about NEP. And regarding NEP, like something like this is coming up after 35 years in the country. This is like a revolution. There are positive things, there are some topics that we need to debate. This is the right forum where we are here. And everyone, we need to put our effort together by discussion, by any way, to make this NEP successful. So hope for the best. I will come to my final talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pandey. We all agree with you. This NEP offers, a lot for both kind of, I would say, leaders. For example, 3-language formula is one such area. We have people who are finding that very much confusing, and we also have people who are finding that very much laudable. So I'll come back to you for your detailed interpretation. Thank you. Now I would request Sunil Dangi ji. Sunil sir, if we can have your opening remark. Sunilji, do we have your presence? I believe Sunilji has lost the connection. Now I would request Pranshu, if we can have your opening remark.
Yeah, thank you, Rajuji. So hello, everyone, all the panelist members here. And I'm Pranshu from Furtado School of Music. So basically, we are thrilled to see, the inclusion of vocational studies in the NEP 2020. We think that it's a giant step because it will ensure the holistic development of children. And because of the inclusion of vocational courses, the children will learn ways to channelize their stresses, their anxieties, and it will help nurture a strong sense of self in them. And the most amazing part of this initiative is the integration of arts and music with mainstream academics, so which ensures that every child experience this as a part of day-to-day learning something. And because this has been a practice in most of the countries, and so we are happy that yes, now finally it is an inclusion in the Indian system as well. So it's a great chance to showcase the overall development of children. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranshu, and absolutely, this NEP offers a lot of initiatives in the field of arts integration. In fact, if we talk about music in particular, so music has been mentioned more than 20 times in the document. So now we have been joined by Sunilji. Sunilji, if we can have your opening remark.
Good morning, everyone. I'd start with that after 34 years, such a drastic change has come into the education system of Indian education system, and lot of things needs to be done by the educationists over here. So I will be discussing that how the technology can help in the implementation of the new education policy, and I'll take you through the research which we are going through. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunilji, for that. We'll come back to you. Now, with this, we come to the next part of this session, which is the main talk session. I'll be coming to all the key speakers one by one, for your detailed interpretation. But before I invite our first key speaker, I would like to share the learnings which we have had during our last 114 sessions. During our last 114 sessions, almost every participant, every educator shared that this is a wonderful document. This document has the potential to place India at that coveted position of Vishwa Gyan Guru. At the same time, almost same number of participants shared that execution is going to be very, very challenging. A lot of people cited the example of CCE, that they said that this was also a wonderful document, had a huge potential, but got failed due to poor execution. A lot of people have shared that teachers training is one big area of concern. Many people have cited the lack of finance in the sector. Many educators have also shared that ideas which are being mentioned in NEP, most of those ideas are already being implemented in many good schools in urban areas. The biggest challenge would be for the rural schools, budget schools, and the government schools. A lot of educators have also shared that we need to have a drastic change in the teachers' recruitment and training environment. A lot of people have also shared their assessment that we lack, we are facing the lack of intent from teachers for upgradation. So there are various challenges and suggestions which have been shared by many educators in our past 114 sessions. So I would request all our key speakers that while sharing your interpretation, if you can also suggest or share some ideas, some practice, some best practice which you have, so that we can all try to execute those in our respective domain. So that would make this interaction more impactful and create more use for all of us. So with this, I would request our first key speaker, Nirmal Mahana ma'am. I would request all the speakers, just keep that time limit in the mind, that is 8 to 10 minutes, so that we have sufficient time in the end for the questions. So now with this, I would request Nirmal ma'am. Nirmal ma'am, over to you.
Good morning to one and all. As I told you earlier also in my one-liner, that implementation of anything, rightly said by somebody when they were stating about the CCE, it was such a wonderful and marvelous thing. But because due to lack of will to implement the CCE, it was not very successful. But this new education policy as per 2020 has given us, because of this pandemic, in any case, we have already experienced quite a number of things during this period, this 1 year, where two things were very clear, that the schools or the teachers or the principals or so many other parents, those who were reluctant to use technology. Now, everybody's screwed up with the technology because for last 10 months, we have been working on this technology only, whether it's a, Zoom classes or so many other platforms, to be very frank. And secondly, when we talk about experiential learning, as per what the main crux of this NAP 2020 is, that the education should go beyond books. It was in some of the schools, as rightly said, that some private schools are doing an excellent job. The teachers were trained like that, that they were not pursuing the children for the rote learning. It was experiential learning, hand-on activities were conducted in the classroom environment. But the main thing which during this period for last 1 year was that we had the contribution from the parents, because when the children were studying at home and the teachers were teaching, the parents were sitting next to the children and they were understanding, which is going to be now in future for this implementation of this 2020, it's going to be a big boost. Because if, as educationists, as principals, as teachers, we try to implement things, but when the contribution from the parents are not there, they don't understand that what kind of education going on. Like I'm in a school which is there on the border area, the children coming from rural background, the parents are more into no, the teacher should write 4 or 5 pages. The teacher should write on the board, and the children should note down in the notebooks. And class nursery KG child also must be given homework to write 4 to 5 pages, so that at home they should not rebel the parents. So now the things have changed. Now class nursery KG child also is working on hand-on activities. They are making the projects, they are creating activities, and the parents are sitting and helping them. So in any case, the main thing which is there in this NAP 2020 is the experiential learning. It's not going to be rote learning. And yes, another challenge which is going to be faced by quite a number of schools, especially the government schools, where the teachers have to be trained accordingly to implement this kind of teaching. Because schools like DPS or other good schools, those who have been experiencing this kind of thing, they don't have that much problem, because every year we have been trained, the teachers have been trained accordingly by the DPS Society HRD Center. But the government schools, they need to collaborate with such kind of societies where, even the government teachers can be trained by the specialized society HRD centers, so that, the main thing is the implementation in the rural areas. Urban areas, still the teachers are using technology, the internet is there, but there are areas where internet or electricity is not there. So that's a problem. I want to tell you one thing about here. When being army officer's wife, my husband was posted in Arunachal. And during that period, during summer break, I joined him for a month or so. And being the first lady of the station, when I visited government schools in Arunachal, a place called Tawang, when I visited these government schools, after even 3 years, the teachers and the children and the parents were not aware of CCC. They were using, the same pattern. And then I organized a workshop for 2 days there, explained the teachers, explained the children, explained the parents that what is CCC and how it's going to be implemented. So there are certain things which, and nothing is new. We were following it during Vedic period also. We were, the education was like Gurukuls. If you see, all kind of overall, the child's personality was enhanced, whether it was education or co-curricular activities or the music or the dance or archery or other things also. But I'm sure the will has to be there, because we as principals have to work together. As I told you earlier, nobody is going to implement it. The government makes the things, but the implementation is on the grassroots level, which includes all the teachers, all the stakeholders and the principals. And we have to train our teachers and the mindset of the parents so that we can implement this. It's a beautiful thing, because no pressure is there. If you see that, So education has to be like that, where the child is independent after completing the education, he's able to earn, he's able to fend for himself. It's not only getting 100 marks, but when he's there out after class 12th, he's not able to cook, he's not able to look after himself when he goes out for the higher education. So small little things, if we start from the very beginning, I mean, class 4 to 5 child, if he picks up small little things, I think it's going to be wonderful. And so many other things are there, which I'm sure I'll leave it for other members also. But only one request is there, that we as principals have to broaden our horizon. We have to train our teachers to implement, and we have to, time to time, we have to call the parents, we have to upgrade their knowledge also, because some of the parents are coming from rural background, their mindset is like that. But in fact, when you interact with them, explain to them, they do understand all these things. So we more interactive sessions with the parents, because after all, they are the stakeholders. So we have to tell them, and the use of technology, as I already told you, experiential learning is happening. So I'm sure it's going to be wonderful and fruitful. That is what I am, practicing in my school, in DPS Rajbagh Kachua, which is there on the border area, children coming from rural background, but still hand-on activities are part of my curriculum. So we are following it, and whatever the small little things are left, we'll try to comply it in the coming future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nirmal ma'am, for sharing these strong solutions and suggestions. You talked about that CC was a document with a good potential, but got failed due to poor execution. And you also shared, the good thing of pandemic has brought for all of us. You talked about pandemic has made everyone to accept technology. You also talked about how pandemic period has, created or have encouraged parents, for more proactive involvement. You also talked about that NEP proposes a environment where experiential learning would be encouraged instead of rote learning. You also shared a wonderful suggestion that government schools should come forward and they should look for collaborations with private, strong private bodies like Delhi Public School HRD and like that. And you shared then your assessment that the policies, but implementation takes place at the ground. So we need to create the right environment, for the smooth implementation. And in the end, you call upon all the leaders that we need to broaden our horizon. We need to build the right set of environment, for training our teachers and create more awareness among our parents. So absolutely, these are the most important pillars, in the entire ecosystem. Thank you, Nirmal ma'am. I'll come back to you. In fact, I also have a very special question with you. You share this idea that government schools should come forward, for the collaboration. So I'll be coming in the end with a question. What are the challenges in that process? So there are many private bodies like TPS HRD. What would be the challenges? What solutions you offer? So I'll come back to you later, ma'am. Thank you for sharing those thoughts.
Thank you.
Now, with this, I would request Manjulika Mathur ma'am, ma'am, if we can have your ideas, your thoughts in next 10 minutes. Manjulika ma'am.
I would like to, by today's topic is the importance of life skills. The whole new NEP has brought us the new perspective on early childhood education. NCERT is on the way of preparing a syllabus, and the CBSE has conducted many webinars regarding this implementation of NEP. Now, as we all know that importance of life skills in early childhood development, and this is a main topic of mine, which is called the preparatory stage. Now, the child has many areas over here, since the early childhood education consists of 5 years. All the more responsibility of the school, as well as the principal, the teachers, depends on how to mold the young individual, the child, he or she who comes to them absolutely raw. The schools now need to prepare students for more rapid changes. It's an ever-changing world, and we have to see how this change takes slowly develops into the personality of each and every individual with various activities. To tackle these kind of unimaginable societal challenges, a child has to use technologies. The responsibility of the teacher is also to prepare students for an interconnected world in which students understand and appreciate different perspectives and take responsible actions towards collective well-being. Here, the responsibility lies all the more on the teachers as well as the coordinators to look deeply into each aspect. Life skills for early childhood education, the 5 years are absolutely important. And many researchers have shown, and the new NEP has clearly mentioned, that over 85% of a child's cumulative brain development occurs prior to the age of 6. Very important, prior to the age of 6. That means in the first 3 years the child is with you, the brain develops. So here lies the introduction of the basic importance of skills that has to be developed, indicating the importance of appropriate care and stimulation of the brain. At this stage, the early preparatory stage, children are motivated to cultivate regard towards their own self, their society, their fellow students, and ability and autonomy through activities. Now, I would like to highlight through this presentation some very important life skills for children to learn at this age. This is a very formative age, and we have to understand the importance of these 8 life skills: focus and self-control, perspective taking, communication, making connections, critical thinking, taking on challenges, self-directed engaged learning, and resilience. Now, the first skill that I would like to talk about today is focus and self-control. The child comes to us in the first, you can say, the nursery or the pre-group class, very, very uncontrolled manner. The child knows only the home environment. Now we have to teach them self-control over their actions, over their mind, and the status in the classroom. The ability to focus and self-control involves functioning of skills like ability to pay attention, learn, and remember rules. Very small rules the teacher can give here, very small instructions. This will develop the language also, and self-control has to be taken up at the initial, and the most important is to control initial responses, impulses by the child. So we can help the young children with games in the class, like guessing game, musical chair. They love to play this game, I Spy, red light, green light. These are some of the excellent ways to help the children with self-control. The next one is perspective taking. Now, in the classroom, as you all see, the child is surrounded by so many other children, various other toys and everything. The perspective area has to be developed. This is the ability to look beyond your own point of view so that you can consider how someone else may think or feel about something. The suggested activities here would be point out the emotion of others. For example, show a child, a fellow crying child, and talk about how he or she feels and why he feels that same way. He should develop his own perspective on the situation. The first one has done something wrong. Was it right on his part? Here, the facilitator or the teacher can also talk about one's own emotions also. So the perspective taking will take the child in a long way in further years of education in the school area, as well as in the college and the higher levels also. Communication. Communication skills help children to express themselves clearly and convey the feelings. As we all know, the whole personality, the whole life's growth depends on the good communication skills. We may be knowing hundreds of knowledge, a bookish knowledge, but if a person is unable to communicate properly, that knowledge has no place for the growth or the development of an individual. So communication skills must be taught. What are good communication skills at the early childhood stage only? For example, they can play telephone. The teacher can ask them to speak extempore, show them pictures, presentation, and read aloud with the children. Making connections, another very important one, where we have to connect ourselves with each other as an individual, then as a society in the larger context. Making connections, it is a critical reading comprehension strategy that helps students make meaning of what they are reading. This skill helps in developing memory. Memory is very important. Here we have to teach the child no rote learning, but to learn through making connections. Here I've shown you an example of letter H that can be explained that it has a connection between G and I because it comes between it. It can be a silent in herb, ghost, or rhubarb, and it can be printed and cursive forms also, and can be combined with other letters as a single sound like the, she, etc. Making connections can also be developed by block makings and other interesting, colorful games which young children love. Critical thinking. This is a very important aspect of a child's education throughout any stage of the student life, whether it is early stage or the 5+3+3 or the 4 adolescence age, that is the secondary stage. This critical thinking skill will take an individual to greater heights, because this critical thinking can be one of the most important skills that today's children will need for the future. The main strands of critical thinking are analysis, evaluation, and further arguments. For example, give the child opportunities to play. Let them assess themselves. Ask open-ended questions. Give them space. Do not intervene immediately. Let them understand the situation and get back to a solution. Help children develop hypotheses and to predict what will happen. Critical thinking is very, very important. As I always tell everyone, each problem has a solution. So if there is a problem, there is a solution. So the between getaway is the critical thinking part that will lead one to the solution. Next one is taking on challenges. Challenges are a part of growing up. All kids will benefit from skill of taking on challenges by how to manage stressful experiences proactively. We don't grow when things are easy, as we all know. Like, as I always mention, and each one of us on this platform must have gone through so many challenges in one's life, so many negative situations. But if the stressful experience is taken up with a proactive attitude, the challenge is very, very easy to conquer, and we can grow when we face challenges. Some suggestive activities can be building a house with a pack of cards, or 1-minute games, guess who, and so on. The classroom gives us many, many situations where things can be changed or developed on the spot by a role model teacher and definitely things will look brighter within a few minutes only. Now, self-directed engaged learning. This is one of the next very important skill that can be developed at an early childhood stage, that is the preparatory stage. Children are natural learners. Learning is a process that never stops. It goes on every moment. They construct knowledge and meaning with every interaction and experience. The teacher can support them by stable environment. Self-directed learning model is a very good presentation that I've given. Self-motivation, self-management, self-modification, and self-monitoring. We have the guidance by the teacher towards the direction can be the turning point in the engaged learning. Resilience. Now, this is, as we all will agree, this is one of the most important life skill that one is to learn. Teachers have to teach how to face failures also. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from stress. This has to be developed right from very early age. Success does not come to us without its failures. Failures is the first step to success. So we have to accept a failure with a healthy mind. It's a skill. Resilience is a skill that kids develop as they grow by taking healthy risks and develop problem solving. Some things to be mentioned here can be a positive attitude by everybody and feeling of belongingness in the society, in the family, in the classroom, and everywhere. A good set of friends give a sense of belongingness. Most important, having a supportive family, helping others or giving back, good communication with people around you. Here I would like to mention about one of the greatest scientists that mankind has seen, about Albert Einstein. He once came back from school and showed a note to his mother that this was given by the teacher. The mother read the note very silently and put it back inside her drawer. And she said, well, my son, from tomorrow, I'm going to be your teacher. Einstein was least interested in going back to school. He had a different mind, a very analytical and a critical thinking mind. He said, well, what happened? He said, nothing. The teacher has said that from tomorrow, your mom is going to be your teacher. Years passed by, and what we all saw, the birth of one of the greatest scientists that mankind has ever produced. Einstein's mother passed away, and after a few months, he was going through her letters and her box of belongings, and he found that letter from the school very safely packed away by his proud mother. And it was written that your son is a good-for-nothing fellow and he's been thrown out of the school, so don't send him to the school. Now here, the supportive family and the sense of belongingness saved the child from being a wreck, a mental wreck. And the mother proved to be a pillar of strength, and we got what we all have seen. So resilience is bouncing back, and we all know we must support our children. They see failures even in senior classes. There are so many times the children, they feel rejected, even on class tests also. And simple attitudes. If they are not playing in the school team, they feel rejected. But we have to be a supportive background to them. Through the NEP 2020, there will be stress on developing these life skills at all stages, but more on the preparatory stage. Vision of NEP is to instill skills, values, and dispositions that support responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development, and living in global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizen. I hope I've made some things clear. Thank you, everybody, for listening to me. Thank you, Rajul, sir.
Thank you, Monica ma'am. You talked about these important points. You also gave us a roadmap. How we can actually create these values, inculcate these values among the educators and learners. You talked about that. The life skills in early child education. How critical they are, how important they are. One important thing which NEP has already achieved, I believe that it has already created that mass awareness, among the people, among the stakeholders about the importance of those early years. So now I see that a lot of people, a lot of parents, a lot of teachers, they all have commonly recognized the importance of these years. You talked about those most important skills which we can and which we must inculcate among our students with the focus, self-control, communication. How making connections can create a important role in the life of those students. How we can build the strong foundation of critical thinking. You shared with wonderful and very simple ways how we can achieve that. You talked about the teachers and the children are natural learners, and without giving them I would say a strong channel of learning, we are some way killing their creativity. So you talked about how we can create that environment where they are encouraged, they can be encouraged to learn more and to inculcate these skills. In the end, you talked about that we need to teach our students that they must accept failures. So you also showed the ways how we can do that. So thank you, ma'am, for sharing that. I would say a blueprint, for the implementation. Thank you, Manjulika ma'am. I'll be coming back to you with questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now, with this, I would request Rupali ma'am, Dr. Rupali, if we can have your ideas. Rupali ji,
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
yes, can we have your ideas? आपकी आवाज बहुत कम आ रही है. You are very low on volume.
Come on.
Okay.
1 second. Is it better now?
Not yet.
Is it better, sir?
आपका साइड में एक डिस्टर्बेंस भी है, ऑडियो डिस्टर्बेंस भी है. आप are you logged in with 2 devices? Are you logged?
Because I'm having lot of electricity issues.
No, if you are logged in with 2 devices, I would request if you can.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Am I audible now?
You're audible, but that parallel disturbance is also coming. That may be because of the second device.
But because I'm
Yeah.
Like that?
Yes, ma'am.
So sorry if the auditory disturbance will continue, but today as Maharashtra came into it and people lack the brains in the evenings, these couple of days. And CEO is under discussion.
You are not audible, ma'am. That I would request if you can log out from the second device. If you can log out from the
I will log out in 2 minutes.
Yeah. So we'll come back to you. I would request Neelam Sharma ji meanwhile. Right. So we'll come back to you 10 minutes from now, ma'am. So I would request Neelam Sharma ji, if we can have your ideas. Neelam ji.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, one and all present here. And I'll start my topic with one PPT. So please wait for a second. So is it visible, please?
Yes, ma'am. We all can see your screen.
Please. Okay. So it's privilege to speak on India's National Education Policy 2020 in front of such august gathering and our Corona warriors teachers. So roadmap is with all of us. Only strong steps what we have to take, that is very important to think about for the better future of the students. So topic which I have chosen is curriculum and pedagogy in school. Learning should be holistic, integrated, enjoyable, and engaging. So I'll go term by term. So first I would like to talk about the curriculum. All many definitions are there. So everything that goes on within the school, it can be any kind of experience, whatever we are teaching, subjects, material, core study, co-curricular, curricular activities, guidance, interpersonal activities, everything comes under curriculum. There are many types of curriculum, but basically I would like to prefer learner-centered curriculum, activity experience curriculum, and integrated curriculum because they are child-centric. So first about learned curriculum. Actually, learned curriculum is the curriculum when the child learns throughout everything throughout his school life from the teachers, peer group, like he develops attitude, knowledge, and skills, and that uh, he uses in his, for future life. That comes under learned curriculum. When we talk about activity based curriculum, where we organize several small activities which can help the student for the freedom of expression, that can be small poem recitation or writing any para on certain beautiful things. So a variety of small activities can be organized under this curriculum. Integrated curriculum means whatever the child learns in the class, that he uses in his real life situation or problem, that comes under integrated curriculum. Pedagogy. Next term in the topic has come pedagogy after curriculum. Pedagogy means science of teaching, or we can say the method and practice of teaching, and it encompasses teaching style, teaching theory, feedback and assessment. Means from your planning to till assessment, whatever processes you will use, that comes under pedagogy. So there are various approaches of pedagogy. So first is behaviorism, and behaviorism means when the child learn through the reinforcement. Means you are giving them test, with the test score you are giving homework, with homework assignment whatever remark you are giving, marks and all. So when you are giving them feedback, that time you are not judgmental. Actually, you are just observing that child is getting the confidence and he is improving day by day. Next is constructivism. Constructivism, when the teacher or we people construct meaning through the prior knowledge or experience of the students. Like photosynthesis, direct we will not tell them what is photosynthesis. Before that, we will see the previous knowledge or experience of the children. Next is social constructivism, in which whole the class will be divided into small groups or can be in the pair, and topics can be taken by the student or will be given by the student. And then they will share with each other their words. That comes under social constructivism. Last one is liberationism, which is the best one. The class is democratic, means the student voice is the prior or the most audible, and the teacher work as a guide, as a facilitator, or as a counselor in the class. Next term in the topic is coming holistic approach. Holistic approach means when we activate all the aspect of the learner personality, his intellect, emotion, imagination. By this example, you will come to know. This is the real example actually. Uh, Word of animals when the child learned in the class, after that means cognitive brain he has used. Now teacher asked that what creative or innovative ideas they can put forward. So they made nice collage of animals with the help of different shaped leaves. Now, Harappan civilization, cognitive mind worked in the class when our teacher asked that what creative you can use with wood, saw, and Fevicol, they made toys of Harappan civilization. In the class, child learn with cognitive brain about the neighborhood, but when she used her emotion and creative mind, imaginative mind, she made this project of her vicinity, and she shared her emotion that my area is this. Next term which is coming in the topic is integrated learning. Integrated learning means I told you that combining what you learn in the classroom and its theory and techniques which you are using for the real life situations. And there are mainly three ways in which curriculum can be integrated. First is involving the themes. You can give them themes using projects that already we are doing by individual, small and large group setting, debate, group discussion we can organize. So this is one example I'm showing you that while teaching chemistry and topic combustion, I started with like, I want to tell you that what is integrated learning, like body is made up of different parts. And when all the parts will work together, then body will function properly. And the same thing is here when all the subjects are integrated properly, some are less, some are more, but they are interconnected, more learning will be there. So I started my topic with ancient time, early man, SST, and early man grew up and he started eating raw materials, raw vegetables, fruits, or animals. Then, due to the friction of flintstone, fire and light came out, and with fire, with the help of fire, they started eating cooked food. And friction word that when I used, I talked about the force which help us to walk, or if we are sliding there is less friction. When we are walking there is more friction. When we are unable to walk due to some reason, there is most most of the part of the friction will be there. When friction is there, I'm saying fire and light. So importance of light we can tell. So in the combustion, what condition required? So basically, which gas required oxygen? And in the environment, again, chemistry, I talked about different gases. So nitrogen, oxygen is there, and oxygen is basically responsible for the combustion. So I came to the topic of biology that like in respiration, combustion is quite similar. In respiration also, oxygen burn the food, energy releases, CO2 releases. And in combustion, when we burn something, burn any object, any wood, or anything, O2 is required and CO2 is released. So in both the cases, so respiration, when energy is released, we use in various kind of physical activities, so physical education here. But the point is CO2, if more CO2 in the environment, then what will happen? Global warming. Now from environment study. So from environment study, now I'm taking them to the real life situation that what other reasons are there for the increase of global warming, and what kind of steps youth can take to aware the people or to aware themselves. So you can see here integrated study or learning means collaboration of subjects and then real life situation. They have to use that knowledge in their real life situation. That comes under integrated learning. Next word which is coming in the topic is enjoyable learning. Of course, the learning should be enjoyable, like teaching should be enjoyable for all of us. So through this picture, anybody can interpret anything. I will accept. But the point is, this is the picture of Corona warriors. So without any word, any written word, we can understand they are Corona warriors. So I'm talking about art integrated education, which is very important, and NEP is focusing on this, and we have already started. Why only cognitive brain? The brain where only we are learning only scholastic subjects. is focusing. We are not focusing on creative. That's why the result or output is very less. So output will be the best when both the parts of the brain will work together. So what is art integration? Art integration means when science, maths, and other subjects will be integrated with dance, music, theater, puppetry. Why art is important, why colors are important, why is important, why dance is important. So art is life, art is your voice. Some of the students are very, very introverts, but they can express themselves with drawing, with dance, with music. Art is therapy after cognitive learning, means doing so many math science subjects. When they find exhausted and get the period of any of the art, and they feel rejuvenated. So we can say art speaks without words, and this picture is the example. So so where is the art in today's education? This is the great question. If you will see few years back, the art is nowhere in the education. Only the juniors are getting education, art integrated education, but the seniors are totally lacking thanks to NEP. But the point is how we will use this art integration. Already we have started, I told you, and this is very important that our seniors should also be little enjoy the learning with art integration. Benefits of creativity, so many are, you can read anyone for yourself. But what I have chosen, creativity encourages us to be lifelong learner, because teachers are the lifelong learners. So the best suited for all the teachers. Next is like how in the subject you can use art integration. Like this one picture is teaching one chapter of class 12th deep water completely. Means how to fear the fear. If you will not fear your fear, then you will not cross it, you will not overcome it, and you will not move ahead. You will stuck in one place. And same, we have to take the NEP as a challenge, and we have to fulfill the dream of makers of NEP. How we can teach mathematics? Mathematics can be taught with small poems, can be taught with small tricks of Vedic mathematics. SST with projects and stories can be taught very easily. With real life examples, it can be taught very easily. These are the real outcomes of art integration learning. Like density, first girl is showing, second is when she learned triangle, she showed magic square number in triangle. And third boy is showing that how he has made with the waste washing machine. So these are the outcomes of AIL, and many things they can make projects, they can make poster making, they can do uh, picture painting, pottery, they can do n number of activities in art integration. So what is learning? Actually learning should be fun, school should be fun, and all the students should be engaged somewhere in the activities. And why I'm saying, because we are in basically sixth onward, we are basically focused on theoretical part, but now NEP is giving us chance, and we all have to take it seriously that art we should engage the student throughout the PPT. It is totally about child centric learning. Learning should be enjoyable through art integration. Learning is really fun when we will not be more judgmental, when we are soft with the students. They will not be harsh if we won't be harsh with them. So engaging is very, very important. And with this picture, like master, teacher is master of everything. He does his work 100% correctly. But the main point is the child in his hand should be safe and happy and love to learn. And if he learns learning, he loves learning, automatically NEP will make the child self-reliant and selfless. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Neelam ma'am, for giving this wonderful ways and with examples. For the you talked about that. The importance of these things. You explained pedagogy, constructivism, social constructivism, and how we can achieve that holistic development with various examples. You also talked about the importance of integrated learning. You talked about the importance of art integration. That's so important and has been formally recognized by this NEP as well. You also talked about why teachers need to become need to treat themselves as lifelong learners, and if they do that, we will certainly achieve that. Learning in schools would certainly become become fun, for the learners. So thank you, Anila ma'am, for this powerful presentation. I'll be coming back to you with questions. Thank you. Now would request Rupali ma'am.
Yes, sir. Am I audible now properly?
Yes, yes,
No
yes,
disturbance?
yes. Congratulations and thank you for making that arrangement. You are very well audible, ma'am.
No. Thank you, thank you. And
Okay.
I apologize for that. So sorry. And yes, thank you so much for having me on this platform. And I am honored to be a part of this gathering. Like we all are discussing about NEP, and there is so much being spoken about, and it is a much awaited policy. And what a year, 2020, that has been a year of opportunities, I would say. NEP basically got us from 10 plus 2 to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Now many parents and everybody is saying, okay, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, the basic categories they do understand, but how does this work? Now when we are saying 5, it goes actually right from the nursery class, age 3 to grade 2 years, to grade 2 students, wherein basically they are incorporating the first 2 years of grade 1 and 2 with the pre-primary, wherein they still will be a part of the playway method. They will still be learning more through the mother tongue, and the entire comfort level of the student is taken care of here. And when they are learning through playway, that does not mean there is no concrete learning happening. The basic skills will be taken care of here, wherein the students will be doing a lot of team activities, they'll be doing a lot of individual activities, and a lot of learning will happen through those when they are doing playing with the Montessori toys. That is, they're going to learn sequence, or they are going to have a team game, when they will have to learn the social skills, coming together, learn how to follow instructions. And when the instructions are blended with the mother tongue, the understanding will be better. So all these things are taken care of. So the child is actually properly ready to come back to grade 3. Now, grade 3 is going to be considered as a very important point here, because it is going to be a year where the concentration is going to shift a little bit from the playway to more on reading and writing. So the love for reading, for the language that will be developed through all these years, will actually get a more formal format when they come to grade 3. Now, grade 3, 5 and 8 are basically nothing but checkpoints or baseline, I would say, exams, or assessments. I would call it exams, it will be a wrong word here. Assessments, basically, wherein the child will be tested for the concept readiness for that particular grade. So when a child is going to grade 3 from grade 2, is the child ready to take those challenges? So it is not about a score, or trying to give a grade to the child or anything like that. It is basically to understand whether the concept readiness is there with the children or no. Then we also go to the higher classes. When we talk about secondary, we are going to have more of skill development. What has happened is, earlier also, actually this is our old system which we are trying to get back. When in the days of times, during the Gurukul times and the other times, what was there is the children were actually learning all this during the school hours. If we remember, all these skills were done during the school hours, and the children were actually learning all this as a part of their education. Later on, somewhere, we misunderstood and mistook the whole thing, and we focused more on the marks factor, more on the grading factor, more on only academics. There was a stage where somewhere we all started feeling that if you don't get the marks, you would not be successful in life. You would not get admission in a good school or a good university or a good college and things like that. So somewhere our focus, because I think shifted from the skills to only academics, and then we knowingly put our children through the rat race, and then we have realized that this has really not taken us anywhere. I am not saying that we haven't been successful. We have been, but it has also hampered us big time. So it is time for us to get back, and I think get back to our own Gurukul system. We do not need to look at the other countries as well. This was already there with us. Somewhere down the line, we had, got mistracked and we were going on the other path. And I am so happy that we are coming back to this, and happy that I am into education at this point of time, where I get to learn so much. And I get to understand the things, and I get to be a part of this entire big change that is happening. Looking at choice of subjects. Now there were a child who would want to do math along with any humanities subject also will have the freedom to do so. If the child feels that I do not want to do this high level math, or I want to do the high level math along with this particular subject, the child is allowed to. So this is so beautiful, where the child is kept at the center, and the child is given the freedom to do what they actually feel, and empowering them to take the decisions. And we are left to do nothing but to be there to encourage them, to felicitate them, to guide them. We are, if we think of ourselves today even as teachers, and that we are going to take them ahead, no, I think we are just left as knowledge partners with them, because whatever they need to know, information is available to them on their fingertips. So we really are in no position maybe to give them that. It is already available. Yes, what we are doing is we are there to guide them, to take them through, and to see that they are following the right path is what we are trying to do here. When we talk about skills and best practices in the schools as well, we as a school have, I think majority of the schools have done it, have started with artificial intelligence. We also have the skill subjects, wherein we have photography as a skill subject. We have bakery and other things as a skill subject, wherein the boys and girls equally are involved to be a part of this. We do have included dance forms as the subjects, as a part of the subjects as well, where the children are free to even choose that part, as if they are good at it and they want to learn. So they have the freedom to do that as well. So yes, a lot of a change happening. I think we are here, and the sky's the limit when it comes to NEP and the implementation. And if done in the keeping the child in the center, I think India is looking at being the next best or the superpower in the field of education, is what I'd like to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rupali ma'am, for sharing these ideas, on social skills, how and why we need to put our focus not on more on real life skills rather than just academic performance. You also share your happiness that you are the educator, and you have this responsibility at this very important juncture, when things are changing in a very positive direction. You also talked about that, flexibility in terms of choosing subjects would be a remarkable step, and would create a huge impact in the life of people. And you also talked about the, your school's practice and the kind of skill subject you are offering to students, like in artificial intelligence, photography, bakery, and among others. So thank you, Rupali ma'am, for sharing these ideas and thoughts. I'll be coming back to you with questions. Thank you. Now, with this, I would request Dr. R.P. Pandey ji, Dr. Pandey, if we can have your ideas.
Yes, so thank you very much.